Imagine a game where you not only learn how you can sacrifice pieces and use passed pawns to win games, but also get a brilliant move on it. Not only that, this game helped me reach my highest rapid rating on chess.com. I played this game today, so without further ado, let's get started. And by the way, my rating went up to 1937 as you can see here on rapid chess. Alright, so let's get started. I start with d4, my opponent goes d5, and I play the queen's gambit. My opponent goes knight f6. Um, my Actually at my level, which is let's say 17, 18, 1900, people usually play e6, and the game continues something like this. The Carlsbad structure and the main plans for both sides are highlighted here. However, in the game, I took the pawn. Also, black may be planning to transpose into a Slav or Grunfeld defense, so I took here. He should actually take with the knight, but he takes with the queen, exposing it. This allows the queen to be attacked with knight to c3, and this move gains a tempo, and the queen just has to go back. I control the center, which is a pretty human move, but computers don't really get how humans think, so it gives me a mistake for this move. Although I think it's perfectly alright. e6, I develop my knight, he pins my knight, and I develop my bishops getting ready to be castled. Here I pin the knight to the bishop, and guess what my threat is? I'm planning to go e5. He kicks away my bishop, I move back, and here he makes a mistake. Actually, you should not trade bishops for knights. What he does with this move is, not only does he give me his bishop for that knight, he also helps me bolster my center, which will prove useful later in the game. So he kicks out my bishop, it exposes his king a little bit. I take it back, and here he goes b6, planning to fianchetto his bishop on b7 and breathe fire on the diagonal. I castle, he goes bishop b7, and I go rook e1, developing my rook and also protecting the e4 pawn. And here he goes knight h7, and I think to myself, what does he want to do? Well, I realize he wants to go f5 and just expand. So I prevented it with queen c2. If he goes f5 here, I can just take, take, take. And if bishop takes, I can use this sneaky little intermezzo, and I'm just winning here. However, he goes king g7, and I'm like, what is he doing? Doesn't that expose his king? And I go with the move pawn to h3 to prevent any kind of g4 ideas. In which case, I'll have to move my knight. It may get attacked by my enemy's pawns. So I prevent it, which is called prophylaxis. He goes f6. And this move, I really think, aren't the light squares getting weak? Just look at this battery. It can exploit these squares anytime. Let me prove it. Why did you give the pawn away? There are three attackers and only one defender. Are you crazy? No, I'm not crazy. Because if he takes the pawn and I take back, I'm actually attacking the knight. So in case he takes, I just win the knight for free and I'm totally winning. And I did this in an attempt to open the position. So, as his king is exposed, the light squares are weak. However, turns out this was slightly inaccurate because he just blocks the entire position. My bishop is sleeping, my knight is watching a movie, this bishop is biting into granite, this queen is hiding behind a pawn, these rooks are sleeping. But I realized maybe I can just sack the knight, which is actually the right move here. I sack the knight for two pawns, let's say that move, and I can just push the pawn, which is actually a killer blow to the black position here. However, I didn't consider this move and I went with rook c1. That's an odd move actually, and I don't think I should have played it. Now this c5 square is also weak and he can just get his knight here to the outpost, attacking my bishop and my pawn. So he goes here. And now I start thinking, if this knight moves to c5, I can just sacrifice my knight for the two pawns. I can have connected passed pawns. Like this is not connected, but passed pawns, they are pretty dangerous. So I just thought of playing a waiting move, and he moved his knight. So he fell into my trap, and I sacrificed my knight. Takes back. Also, it came with a brilliant move. So cool. I come in here with check. He goes back, and I simply move my bishop back to push the pawn, attacking the knight, and to go forward. He takes the bishop, I take back. Here he goes with c5. I just simply retreat my bishop back to c3 where it's safe and it still breathes fire on this diagonal. Also, if my queen can somehow get to g6, it's checkmate. So he prevents that, and I just push my pawns. Another thing the c5 move did is, before this pawn couldn't advance without being captured. However, with this, I get connected passed pawns on the fifth rank, and he threatens this f2 pawn. I defend it. Another idea is maybe I can swing my rook over to e2 with rook c2 and double my rooks along with protecting the f2 pawn. So he tries to undermine my pawn structure because if I take, it's pretty losing. Not losing, but he has the advantage because my passed pawn here mm, looks pretty unsafe. Okay, but I push forward. He moves his queen, asking for a trade. He says, "Hey, let's trade queens. Then you have no attack on me. What are you gonna do?" And I say, "Alright, let's trade." Guess what I got? Two connected passed pawns on the sixth rank. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So he pushes his pawn. I move my bishop to safety. And he goes bishop to c6, trying to restrict my pawns. I just protect both my pawns so I can push them safely. He goes knight f8, and I simply push. My pawn is one square away from queening, and he goes king f7, just giving away the knight. What he is saying is that, see, I know you are a pawn up, you have a passed pawn, but look, this pawn is weak, my bishop is active, and I think I have enough compensation for it. But no, because I come in with rook e7 check out of nowhere, and if you go here, I'll simply go rook g7 check, and I'll just win all your pieces. I'll win your pawn, and after this, I can just push the pawn and I'm just winning. Instead, he goes king g6, which loses even more badly. To rook g7, check. This sniper bishop on b2 is protecting. He moves out, and now it's your chance to think what to do here. There's no clear checkmate, but think of the move. What can white play here? That's right, white can fork the pieces with pawn to g4, and now his king is in a risky position, but I just take and I advance the pawn. This passed pawn is just too dangerous. He hangs his bishop, he gives me his rook, and he thinks, he hopes, what if this guy stalemates me? But no, I will make a new queen and I'll give away a rook to ladder mate him. And that is how you can use passed pawns and piece sacrifices to win. Also, this game teaches you how you can exploit the weaknesses of your king, of your opponent's king, by opening up the position. Alright, so peace out. See you later.